yeah, we are not selling a spotless candidate to Ghanaians.
Okay.
In case Ken or yeah, for so no, that's not what we are saying. A spotless candidate, yeah, I say Kofa Yesu Christo Nankasa. No aba the leader of the MPP. But we are saying it's a Ken or strengths or also shortcomings, just like any other human being. Me tiwe, ma sorry I'm a kono. Ebi am so for be hu me be me twebi blue kills na me ya de. O so wo twebi. But be me nim de oye dey, oye wo dem. But me dey sa ebu na ma say e ba nyame hu kitahudi ene nyame asem ka on na ye dey, onim eyo. If you look at the candidates contesting and the other candidates, I don't know where Ghanaians had this whole template of he is humble. What has humility got to do with being a president? We are not saying conform more humble to being a president too, but we are almost now building a system. All you need to do is pretend that you are humble, and automatically you become where your brain wants you.
So you see it as a pretense.
I mean, the point I'm saying is that if you're also not very careful, you may get weak people who may be then branded as humble. What I say?
Nipa na humble now means that we're very accommodating.
Now, also the case any person affair, the person cannot be accommodating. But if I was made to land that, the point I was making is our strengths, our shortcomings.
Okay.
If you look at some of the other candidates, they also have strengths and they also have shortcomings. One of them whose name I remember the better Jano. Yes, you're humble. I've also seen people criticize him say,
yes,
"Oh, you're a weak candidate."
Wait, why? Okay.
Oh, Mr. Candidate, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I'm not to watch this. You know what I mean?
Every case, I'm okay. So that Mr. Panic couldn't have been before set us by Nansa. We also take feedback from you. Anything I came with the generator, and I won't say there has been any outburst. And also, the most more kind of say,
and no son, I've been coming per se, me about the honor of Nabani. They say, and you're not, what's it, but say. Na yemfa enje to me sana wo yana because they was guys from January till date and say na no asemo no knowing very well who Honorable Kennedy Japan.
There is a pending question let me answer the pending question let me read that to us
because of that in Tina must say no what brain was okay.
So like I said, we are not selling a spotless candidate, but the I can say there are a lot of character tracer. Say a heavy character tracer. Obetima boy as on mine than anything. Because our rich ideas and yes we will a dream poor we sweep a sober some one if you don't win power, rich ideas in academy, a back campus. Until you will be or could do for. Obia easy in 72 hours will be declare election. Now within 24 hours was one of my there be no journey MPC near the that's not how Ken will do. Here Bemo Yaku do for 2028 to bet him in this for a CNE. Here we saw a Ghana for a genie tomb so cow or yo, or Moji with him, or Casso baby and you more baby, and Pano Makoto Banade, Amano. Now to your substantive question, I will say, you see, Ken has not changed. Ken is still Ken. But you are also dealing with human beings. Over so many pa. And at some point, there also have to be a balance. So, one must say no more pa. Also, you have to also meet them halfway. And be a same being in a cano. So there was a kind and canano. So never catch us away, Jimmy. This time, one can say be away, Jimmy. Because oh, Unyansa a day or form. And it has more to do with style. But in terms of the character traits, in
the same original.
No, he's Ken. He is Ken. And that's what I said. The end. Say, you see, Ken is loved by two things. One, no credit oka, and no kukudru. What I say, in this if Ken is going to change that Ken, so Eko Fang Walabo or Mobono Yeno, oh Ken, no, that's not Ken. He is still the Ken that we know. Just say the Momusi Kano, any pan obersum. You see, when you're him for Casa. Near 2 for a beer, especially not bent a power, a power star, a power. Then so, yeah, my muhana, a beer, Cassani ha about phone cacra. That is also the hallmark and a trademark of also a listening leader. The next change now by your who say, can any pan about some. Now, come I be enough when you're to me now.
What's so doing yet to me? Was I cannot
no, not being your combat in a different style.
In a different style. Okay, into what modernizing. In a way,
me say what he's taking feedback from Ghanaians. Say Ghana for no beso.
Okay, the Ghana for be canon na would see.
The Ghana for be canon.
Okay, into campaign no theme be na edaso.
Oh, Ken dey e dey back up no be ma party no in Ghana for. But continue ma. Ken would you say our restaurant ko eda agriculture and socio-economic transformation. And the Oba or some of the agriculture be creating jobs. Maybe the northern part of Ghana. In full, and Sassia, you almost has a bow. And Sassia walk the northern part of Ghana, or they be queer at the feed Ghana. No, they be feed Burkina. No, they be so feed one other Togana, one other year or border. Yes. But the point is, we via in Miane for exports. No, the biswa de FD Ghana. One other thing agriculture may exploit, for instance, a BBFN ethanol. And sign no me, alcohol, yeah, no me. So your Ghana near or company or Ghana Casabroko or crap ethanol, alcohol, be $2 billion every year.
Wow.
Bakufu, it's your cash $2 billion. Anyway, acquire me for any acquire and say we achieve $2 billion. So imagine, say, as a country, we identify 10 casaprecos or 20 casaprecos in the African continent alone. Near cassava. Cassava no kwa uye tano ni free ma. Cassava na kwa timi obe 29 end products. Say what's here year huwajuma. What the emphasis say tano no kwa. Near turn to 20 people. Near supply will be at $2 billion, $2 billion, or $40 billion. Sika be ni enya. Enyuma be ni nkiti wa maimu. So adia ba kwa kendi be ye juma pa eye efuyo kuyayo. Who say during the first industrial evolution, second industrial evolution, third industrial evolution, fourth industrial evolution, Africa near or just at the consumption end. To Ghana, first industrial evolution on we steam engines at the power production. Second industrial evolution, electricity at the power production. Third industrial evolution, computers by. So see artificial intelligence no money ade. Then you know we just at the consumption end. It is all person your mind now catch it up. We used to be a leapfrog approach. We be free. Now you cannot miss the first industrial evolution. It started with production. In our baseline, production and industrialization. Tadia can't be or body queer your power. Because I can't queer your own yet. Queer ya fat second Marcos Quate, Semen and Nabanco do we all domia, Okoda, Badasa Sabro, and the Odahusia. We did not mean your family a modernized, mechanized farming and casa. One can believe in the Asian miracle model. Say Asian miracle model. Senka, Papa despite in a while. Now, for Sapon. You have about, let's say, 100 of them. No root miracle, 2,000 people each. Now, one more you're interested in farming. Now, if I say farming, obey. Now, buying a sell monster. Now, one more musica, no more grants and then they're able to recruit, let's say, 2,000 or 3,000 people. And if you have 100 people that recruits 1,000, then you increase their capacity to recruit, say, 2,000. Automatically, you've created 200,000 jobs with agriculture. Until a year, one more month, it will be corporations, businesses, mechanized form of farming, and obey.
Now, mechanized there, then they require a lot of machines and so.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
And now, they ask what does it mean? Say, who's a cast of creative certificate and non-certificate jobs?
The Ghanaian points, the Abakanadi, Japan promises job for certificate and non-certificate holders.
Yeah, because Abribia near Kwani any party for Nekasa, and some of the be catch them say, but the movie near catch them say, Muni certificate intermediate.
And so, Obi, Omobuamakana winning here. Yenin Seni Pano, one call law school biada, when you're lawyer, sa boy opportunity anase we he anka we lawyer ni pan de anka mpushi wo hye ene sa na omuka onim so wanya doctor post slot be about onka we lawyer ni a is not just one year lawyer ni onye doctor enti no na just onya but now no de ukita certificate ubenya ejuma
the bigger problem is say yen kan crunch your party for no
okay
ye kwa ni aka jo mo say muba munya adwuma no muba certificate assembly anya dey anyhow. But you see, before we catch up certificate assembly anyhow, you must be then willing to create non-certificate jobs. Okabucha cleaning no money adan obi any the certificate here dey. They say, farming as there could be an aspect of farming within the chain, production, and even the supply chain and require certification. What I say?
Okay.
Yeah, well, jobs and require certification. So the person will still be paid a year then sabede ebekonano. But yeah, quite a catch almost when you do buy a certificate bia. But let's ask ourselves. Nipano uncle school never nurse and answer would never the lawyer. Like Oboko Kuku for our hospital. So we must be very honest to our people and tell them, say, we'll create two kinds of jobs. Jobs for certificate holders and jobs for non-certificate holders. And that's what Ken is coming to do.
Okay.
The 1 year, farming and some year, they kind. But also, yeah, or say, we share maybe to say the religious and faith-based group now. Nipa Mosompa, sorry, and so for assembly. And on their job, the religious institutions, these churches. What churches are? Ugugu is here, Ghana, over 100,000 denominations. What I say? Denominations, and we presby, we know one man churches need to be brave. Close to 100,000, over 100,000 of them. Now, Oba mi krumu domi asante domi abra o mi free no. Oba ho your presby, your Roman, your Pentecost, your Assemblies of God, your Methodist, your Anglican, sorry be brave. Azumi say domi nkwa no. Your sorry makuma kunkwa 15 and a day. What the plus one Manchester say no 20 churches. Now can say and also obefa our real sonko nkitahudie sonko between abino any these religious institutions. Even mocks on only adin account.
Okay.
Now one also partner to also do businesses.
As in farming, not
necessarily farming, but also by your entrepreneur say perhaps. Because we have a Pentecost. The church already have the basic logistics. Like to say beer and offices. They already have the leadership already. Instead of now show say, maybe cool say, press before train so. So a tongue. I almost say in a month be more than 10,000-15,000. So more able winner.
Okay.
Because I want to say if the Presby Church can recruit 10 people, it could even be more. Because one more major machine who find a any pabe and 9. Ubenya bear 9 on bed, a packet, your driver, you almost have a packet book.
It is an obey investing in already existing businesses. No more.
Every church will own a business. Every faith-based institution will own it, including the mosques. Every faith-based institution will own a business, and that is the collaboration and partnership between the faith-based groups and the government. Because coming when I say faith-based group, more they are say they be more kwasori. Assuming say more kwasori no. Na sorry be organ be could be all them domi dia medican. You can't churches no. The already established one manager 20. 20 people. Domi alone has recruited 400 people.
Okay.
Into job creation.
So this we nya na de obey no.
Yes.
Na ye can we nyina no. Grassroots for no say no musi esomofa. Resonating well with them one as saying. Oh,
grassroots for no. One more e wo gidi o kan wo.
Okay.
Na wo hwe na buy koto na our performance was not good. So, in the Omunian, we say, I can't let them buy a bed the other day. Am I?
Some more can.
Oh, yes. Said last election, I got 2 years. We had 276 constituencies, sir. A mobile 199 constituencies here, you didn't go. Almost 2 tier presidential candidate. Osha, there were 7 regions where a presidential candidate when we need one constituency cry. Yeah, Nipa close to 400,000, more than 345,000. At to my parliamentary candidates, you know. To tier a presidential candidate. And the imagine say 345,000 plus a bar post to tier to my parliamentary to tier presidential. How many more on person Baba to claim presidential and the party in the pieces or Mameto? There could be many more.
But some analysis here will make it Obaka say because of the presidential candidates, no a majority of the MPs and so Lucy Omisitana.
Oh, I mean that one and I make say. The data does not lie. The analysis may be subjective or different. But if people walk to the polls, they move 345,000 plus a buy. One more to my own in the history of Ghana since 92. I heard the nominal value, sir. Presidential candidate no votes no, and also Senate, parliamentary no combine. But for the first time in their history, no, yeah, parliamentary ni mum evo square day Ecuador so say presidential. Di nkofo kwa to ma ye parliamentary no mu wie no to tia ye presidential. Ndi wo hwa then people will tell you say people even preferred our presidential candidates to our president, our parliamentary candidate to our presidential candidate. But that is not the point. The point I am making is with our performance in the last election, we were about 9 regions or her. Cumulatively, we are looking at 98 parliamentary seats. Some people are 5 up, and then this one 93. There are 4 regions where you need 1 parliamentary rep. A day in the free sura a bet to see by Yarahuma, Ama by Yaramacase. A dear Kwan MPP, a year.
Now, wouldn't you this for the past 8 years? No, a mamono so a kahona, a binum. Every
change of government be a memo kahon and a change government, but we've never witnessed this defeat ever in our history, with about 2.1 million people refusing to come and vote, about 1.7 million people voting against 1.7 million vote difference. And he also says that people were not ready for our presidential candidate. But Medika Kusi say, Benfoka say, in so a chair to my day, your presidential candidate, because normally we will hang on the year. But who say, we are penny na assemble there, where they are, you won't be your home frame. I said $1 yasama again, NDC for 1-4. Oba any kuya, se COVID, senior COVID, 4 to 7, you can't mount for any day, any. In such a case, and a war would done no economic management team. They will punish you for that.
Okay.
DDEP. And you want to be our years, she say, no. But where they are, so far as an eye advice, no, won't mean you who they in frame.
And yes, like I said, so what's your analysis in the idea? What the Somoni Bonnie Bibia or Nunti and Nunti and Asibia Ghana for a woman penna, not a buffo na show woman. No,
but the buffo, how do you separate the candidates from the party's unfortunate woes? For instance, some because a NAPCO bear 2 years and in okay, over 100,000 people in okay. How do you then say at the paper be all party in the mono? Now vice president can home, but the end and the non can home. As you Ghana card, as one mobile money interoperability, as one if you now no more pot or the tampering and where be when you gate okay, something gate so on one and the other at the papa there. It will be so nice, say, and function. Maybe at the a chia and trade, people cannot hold them liable for it. We are not saying, say, a buy no and when he day and count, a buy no when he count. But any not so cross until they better say, that's a buy no when he lay the same buy na buy you. Until after 4 years of one can say, same a buy na. If the logic is say, a buy no when he intended to for at the Yao trade, then it is better to bring Obia. Now, Memphis who do any key position or the Abemu. And so ye, and there were way more. And when the phone a boo, almost say, in so cry, a chair to my day, a year. Mrs. Specialization 30 years going. But when the phone a car, almost in so cry chair to my day, a year. Indeed, after bare 16 years, Nippon will be in Yaquina some party. You who say, why the obey what the party for us, what the Ghana for us, no, be shy a day, I bet to so yes, be diakoni di fata na fata na kono nem kwankwanwa ase na okona afei uko leshe na I mean the worst defeat ever. The book also second chance be wo hwe abako semu a Professor Dubois henya 1.2 million one Rollins mewa eso kwa ya mfana nkobio na akofo ba ya de ko 2.8 million na MPP no wono mu a second chance e mo makonya ko bia ya obi a okwa watime a kire se ye vote enya in a previous election no wono etimi di be ye de beka ho Professor Dubois he brekwa one kofo one Rollins koya sabe 92 no transition aba from military era aba constitutional rule asabre momo no mo ho 92 omani afia no mo ye omo say abakwa etu ne tubi pig ballot boxes ebu e the Jude bag be fa se ni amomo na soja fa be fa enum pokura no Professor Dubois he lose 1.1 million votes difference and akofo so buy kofo de ko 2.8 omo so ya to akofo so ya to akofo do sade na entwa ya former vice president so but do kofo demonstrated say obetimi di vote ni bia bede abeka ho but the Professor Dubois he dey any free 1.2 million at the call 2.8 so here Akufo for the first time also be fa Akufo 2.8 no e call 4.5 Akufo kre free office no in 2024 election Akufo call or the 4.5 na if you ho Akufo so dey call 4.5 until Akufo quite the first time against Professor Mills we win by 100,000 votes difference. He won the first round until say a court time near here by 0.2 for day. And he Akufo-Addo de baya no de be 6.7 million de ejawo. Na wo test ba for
inti net is only be the count. Na as some here can say we are speaking in parables, meaning say a former vice president. One Fabian count on deserve second chance. To undeserved second chance.
So here Akufo-Addo de be 6.7 million de ja no or the bar 4.16. And you hear so better 33%.
They may say because of that in no undeserved second chance na.
Maybe kind article be almost say one Dr. Kurugube. Also we nyai campaign against Dr. Bawumia say because of Mampusini. And I'm saying oh one akasa. I mean let's state it for emphasis sake. At the country I may say former vice president and Trump say mo infa Ken man and say. The performance I was demonstrating in the last election. Wanyade. Ohwe MPP abako sema ya track of force because say mpenifo say amfa na ede e chene ntwa so because obon homode ya track of force so che say o de kofo de na ede e kwa so but here Dr. Bawumia Akufo-Addo votes ko de jan nationally what is 33%. Ohwe the southern belts are predominated by accounts are more aligned to the MPP also at 31%. If you make us if you are 5 northern regions they be on yard ho say how they be who are no free nti na krom for to man there so enko he also what is about 16%. How then do you say nipa ko eligible for second chance?
Say no say into so what so now on add there so means on add value be to the jano no into no deserve second chance.
It's not really about deserving but it has more to do say ka said ne be ko biwa performance on nyael.
Say na woman you know the history in the party
yes.
All the candidates in our list say we ye say ye di we jan we di become it's na me bisa no because so the become then you deserve it say okay ye ma won san to aso
on deserve say ka said ne ko biwa oh he be take be 16 years and san what me win yes because President Mahama the 8 years na tete Akufo-Addo 1 million votes difference
but what time woman President Mahama analysis no ka say mo krampo de beboa honorable Ken na mo promote say delegates and to manage say NDC be new candidates and President Mahama and sign and maybe meaning say because in the nim you know akokwa Ghana for
very smart parents and come do it
omo omo nanim akokwa wo mo ntimi e di nti e na mo obi so ono so di kan kobia no so nanim akokwa wo mo repeat.
Oh, it's a very valid question and a valid point to make. We can say, oh, I don't know, be a could be the enfan enko. But the chairs on say, oh, here data na. Who's any part no data man power, only the open data was a man. Ghana on now. Meaning, data man. Unfortunately, the data doesn't point so. Say, what the could be data na, and what on the say. Then quite be take 16 years and so on irrespective of who he's meeting. President Mahama, the last elections and on Akufo-Addo 2016. Akufo-Addo share with 1 million votes difference. 1 million votes difference, they take in 8 years and so on already. Ultimate Teaba. It is a heard Dr. Bawumia D. 1.7 million votes difference. If 1 million is equal to 8, 1.7 will be equal to X and I can then find X. If you find X will be giving around 13.6. 13.6 will run 14 years. From the lesson cycle, 14 and a basic bear after 12 years plus 2 years. And the next only 2 years, the become 16. In the roughly, we are looking at the next 16 years.
And more X no year equal to 16 years.
Yes. The 16 years, no. Because we run it. Oh, because 14 years you're in trouble. The 16 years, no. 14 years you're in trouble. The 16 years, no. When the 16 years is all your party now 50 and I was now when you're 66, we will say pension. Anything that you hear will be a Ghana for GDP almost more than a buy a bed. Okay. And then we have about the could be paid because you're not quite but a chair said he was not marketable. Who say, oh yes. Who say there is a difference between visibility and marketability. It could be visible in Sui, but visibility not necessarily marketability. When visibility say wouldn't so ya be presence is here. But marketability just say you can't want any pay the eto because your GD was specializing. And the specializes both marketable and visible. But you could get in so only visible but not marketable. Marketable is visible.
But on your day.
No, I will say what Kennedy is. Kennedy is both marketable and visible. But not about me visible.
But on your marketable.
I say Kennedy is both marketable and visible.
Okay, my share more a past campaign and now 2024. And Sabri say me fancy 2023 campaign at that time no na pay a honorable can no pese or ye flag bearer na any the way a campaign is equal difference e wo mu ana o manfo oboje mo so more accept say or honorable can no mo pe chain eye afie ana past in a campaign ana.
I think so, with just the introduction of Dr. Brian Chambo, the dynamics has changed a bit.
Oh, okay. Hey.
No, also making rules well.
I see.
And me, I'm a former boss, Dr. Duchum. So, but it looks like Dr. Brian Chambo is rather pulling higher.
Okay.
Also, Chief Free Dr. Baromia voice in pa.
And you're not working the
Oh, any of Chief Board, be a bit there were not Dr. Baromia there.
I didn't, yeah.
Oh, send all Dr. Baromia camp.
Okay.
Hold on, no, Dr. Duchum, you also know more the camp. And if they are also contested, or saying for no, and then the number for only more for Mama. So it's also changed the dynamics a bit. But the duty and they say any party for any bed ever hokasa. Any form for any hokasa. A book was a hombre, say, quaso, casada, quaso. Near Chomo say, Senor Pa, na ken ba, in Mr. B, in Mr. Benya Jumaya, aye. And most importantly, ideas I can, and Mr. can be magic to me. Na said Dr. Baumia, said Dr. Brian Champon, Dr. Duchum, engineers or ideas, but none of me the TV, so my ideas, I can say, I'm saying, we need ideas in the MMO. He'll be with me.
Lawyer, come ahead, about ideas, can say, and so we need ideas. I don't know, we need ideas, MMO. He'll be with you. What is now winning ideas in send my family agriculture near the engineer there who be engineering a you who someone some and somebody there who him there and they doable but the point is if we don't win all these ideas will not be feasible. Becca them Becca say it will become obsolete and dust a good so I feel that it was embassy so you need the power first before the you see. Second, if it is about one more define presidential candidates, no person would define in my end there. And Ken would have probably been the last. Because Ghana, a presidential candidate, yes, you'll be all but tie, yes, you'll be all shadow and also a humble. They are old. So that's will be all shadow, will be all humble, and that's will be all said that. Said the Mohun or public, said the Mohun or public, near humble, not in the fearsome. Into no, the Omoka say or humble, who name the fearsome won't. What am I fancy? Well, here we very much. Maybe I don't to us. Some common able. Of course, we are politicians. But I'm saying, maybe you're a politician and who are party no see probably unim. Oh, not per se. But I'm saying, say, yeah, my mohano people also construe. My more example. Say, even John Mahama is also seen as humble, right? President Mahama. Oh, I mean, President Mahama. The interim card John Mahama. No more. My brother, we are a harmony title. Mama, one example, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Trump, but for the purpose of education,
yes, he's a president. But mom, not out of disrespect, but out of what my brother drew. We are here. Moses, all by only Dr. Moses. Maybe be for the title coming home. I'm saying they betray. Yes, I'll have my brother. Kofoka kwame despite even though she and be a daughter despite but maybe a word drew it didn't inquire the Ekasaman. So for instance, when you compare President Mahama's humility and our candidates Dr. Bamia's humility, President Mahama in 2020 only President who for the coalition now Olusu with about 500,000 votes difference. Who's Olusu, you know, so Olusu. I'm a press conference. I said, "Do get some more comfortable lead." Ujina na swa my electoral commission we need crowd. The assembly there. A court so no any we lose. And my court unanimously omu tutiano. But at the end of the day, we need free mubama no. But me, every the parliamentary seats na ni lead no, any ebeche 137, 137. And you can't quite double catch us 148 seats. But the mini 137, 137. 137, you know, and then ma or muja, egu yechima, ye levy, adi pass bia, no my who did that, say you, say they, no matter no. In front of tour. I feel yes, ma, but about me also time. Yeah, Trabano. This is the same 72-hour window. Make sure the humility aspect that you are talking about. Say, one here, even though him humble, no, then humble per se, but nay, be a mirror.
Okay. The weakness.
Yes. But me another example. The same election as you could be. In a space of 72 hours, easy at the Mayan. Yes, a candidate, you know, less than 24 hours on also quite you 2 months or lose election. I feel MPC no much for mobile collation centers. Now, and this is for Yakudro, no more call, no more sheho, no more day. I feel you see, you know, a tebaya, a baba from 137 to, see, I'm not going to say 87.
And they said it was second CD. Too early ntina ninyina ka hone ma mulusi seat ne bi no na na seat no
one considering temwa one considering temwa
enka mo benya more
we won't find ourselves in the state that we were her baby is a blockman ya e chiro mo chenchi mensa say it was even declared then but the chi almost a year ma ye ho che Charles Force or Tema Central omoje it took him ekopel no private security and ne omo face but busa ho say any pahin no more private security or more that capacity and then this for the first one omotimi eba
so because say the way an attention no is it in a way no ojitu muntem no so no e kame enkofo be oh Ghana for do na kai say
tension by 2024 kwani da yeto about Ghana
we say oh a ban in terms na ema obi abo to ne yem
I'm asking say no but contrary to what people may say no the evidence doesn't support that the evidence is that with that concession no can embolden the NDC for and coalition center say kwa basabasa nti basabasa ya sama ndi pa eka no where is it that logic is not tenable
say anu nyina out of humility or humble
but oh because oh humble. But Ken na almost one year humble, he will never do that. Say he's a 72 hours, no akwaja to enjejuma. No. In 2028, enjejuma. Ya twaba ne kai na Ken akwaja to enjejuma.
Could there be say a banisa no so almost more coalition centers bibini amos muji feeding it
so Ken say Ken lose mpa on your no kwa no ho. Ken lose obedwen parliamentary candidates no so as akwaja to muntema one here na ndisi for akwo
but Ghana for nyina so no edo so chain parliamentary candidates.
No, but at the end of the day, Ghana for nyina also say within that time of the process, everybody also want that representation to also govern the same country.
No, the American said they be basabasa yinsi.
Oh, but Messi at 1992.
From that
Messi at 1992 be seen and abena basabasa is here. And if it is a logic is basabasa no ye a bra such a concession could even embolden other people to go and act differently. And that's what we witness. And to go focus about basabasaya mentasi. Sometimes you know book if you have election you don't per se or any person so in papa or a humble. But I'm saying say any NDC for now you see make election results there's no way second be wakoja no, he won't do that. Uncle my MPs won't no, he won't do that. Basabasa bien. You see, there is a difference between protecting your rights under the Constitution and basabasayo. The Constitution enjoins us to protect your votes. The Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, and joining a share can say and protect the sanctity and integrity of our electoral process.
That time the candidates in one Jenny ne MPs and so on.
Mame can say make us a candy on yes, sir.
Oh, now then, they will be a sebi chat one. Ubetcha ho dia ya
oh so onone
and onye ne santi dia ina ono ye yenti
oh so make say ono de sebio e be a briefing onyaye ene na adwen a wodwen ene man make his decision
so na wrong na
I don't want to judge him. I don't have it's beyond my pay skill to judge him, but I will tell you what Ken will not do. Ken will not do that.
Okay ye share any post ya na minim say we
be brave
e bom ho ana.
Oh, say be na favor ye. Nti ade favor de boy.
Na say dey in favor mo no so e.
Oh, they you see whether say
this one ba in favor mo.
Oh, what?
Enu nti na me
be favor ye kra no. Me if favor ye in a larger extent. The in favor you cry, Musa Dankwa the in favor. Our money 17% throughout. So they are so challenged say why not twice every month biano or take a main opponent they are so 5%. And if that trajectory is to go on, I can 4 months or so 5 20% or more 27. And I will be 27. But when you couldn't. Until I'm safe if I am.
Okay.
Mrs. say, and now you can make it to 64%.
Was it 62 to
64%? To
64%. And Nyame Adoma 31st January 2026.
Prophet Kwasi